Joining us to talk some markets, Pete Najarian, co-owner of Market Rebellion. Pete, always enjoy having you on the show. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks. Really appreciate it, Oliver.
All right, so we've narrowed down our Mag 7, of course, the Fantastic Four, Fabulous, whatever. Everybody's got their own name. What are you using right now?
Yeah, those four are still absolutely carrying everything that they need to when you look at NVIDIA, but you just wonder, well, what else could be put into that group? And I've never really liked the idea of just having too small of a group anyway. I never really believed that there's the Mag 7, quite honestly. I mean, there's so many other participants, and it's a way that unfortunately I think fools the public a little bit. But you could take a look, for instance, year to date, and you could say to yourself, well, I look around and I see JP Morgan, I see Wells Fargo, I see American Express, I see Visa all doing very well. Over in the healthcare area, you could see names like Lilly, which has had an unbelievable run to the upside. How about Viking Therapeutic? So there's a lot of different names that I think have had a lot of incredible moves and sometimes don't get reported enough. And I think that when we look at all of this, it's great. The Mag 7, it's fun to talk about. But three of them are definitely limping around right now. And so we've really just got the, whatever you want to call them, the final four.
Yeah, that's probably the way to do it, though maybe there's some implications of the final in there. Number of companies making new highs, to your point, has expanded a great deal. There's a lot of stuff rallying. The thing that is still kind of nagging in my mind with the whole Mag 7 group is this giant Apple spread. It's like Tesla's kind of, its own beast, and Alphabet, maybe it's got that competition, but Apple's always the pillar. It's the rock, and running the correlation, it's like the lowest to the NASDAQ in like 13 years. I mean, there's got to be something we can do with that as traders.
Yeah, I think that the opportunity is about to be there. I still think there's a little bit more downside. When you look at the news recently, right? I mean, it really was something that was incredibly negative. First of all, you had the $2 billion deal that is going to cost them some real money. And it's not something that Apple seems to ever be on the wrong side of. The other thing, of course, is trying to get into the EV space that they've never really made any kind of a major move that we expected, especially with buying up all those different folks from Tesla and everything and trying to build this whole thing out. We never really have seen any fruits to that labor. So I think they're doing the right thing, but it's not like Apple to be this late to AI. Now, I realize they have certain AI things going on, but it's nothing like what we're seeing everywhere else. And I think that's something that's probably surprising. And, if there's any blame, I have to put some of that on Tim Cook right now. And I say that as a longtime holder of Apple stock. I think that they've done an amazing job all the Steve Jobs years all the way to now, but they're a little bit of a stumble right now. And I think that sometimes is the opportune time to take a look again, because maybe it's getting sold off a little too much and they can recover faster than a lot of folks think.
I like that. All right, right now, market would rather put its money elsewhere, I guess. So the rotation potential, if we go down the cap spectrum, Pete, you believer in the Russell, or has it missed its chance?
I like the Russell. I see a lot of folks out there talking about this. I don't really narrow it down to something like that. A lot of the time, I'm just looking at the individual names. For instance, I'll give you a great example. When I look at Bitcoin, I don't just look at Bitcoin. I look at all the names that actually will move along with Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy is one of those kinds of names, right? You've got the AI side already. And then when you look at that and you look at what Saylor's got in terms of the positions right now in Bitcoin, 190,000 Bitcoins, you can understand why that stock has been absolutely on fire to the upside. So I think there's a lot of different names out there in different categories that make a lot of sense right now. We look in the healthcare space, everybody's going after weight loss drugs and so forth. And that is certainly a big mover right now. And that's something that's been absolutely spectacular for a lot of the various names. But it depends on where you want to focus. Do you want to focus more on tech? You want to be in healthcare? You want to be in the financials? I think all of them have some winners among them, but it doesn't mean the entire sector will be.
Yeah. Do you think that any of these groups need support from a Fed standpoint, or the names that you're trading and you're looking at, are you trying to find stuff that doesn't need help from the Fed?
Yeah, I think so. I think you've always got to understand that in the background, we've got the Fed. And obviously, we've had Powell talking for the last couple of days, yesterday and today, talking about everything that's going on. And I think he's done a good job so far. Let's just hope that Powell actually doesn't put his foot in his mouth, and that's something that has happened in the past. I think if he can stick to the script and tell everybody, hey, look, here's what we're looking at. It's been sticky. We're not at 2% yet. It might be something where we're delayed. Bostic the other day, I think, put it very well when he said, look, we might have a cut here this year, but it's probably one. I was still surprised, Oliver, to hear so many people jump on the bandwagon early in the year saying, oh, well, there's going to be 3 to 6 cuts. I never saw that. And as a matter of fact, how could we see that given the fact of what we don't have right now, which is the data? So it's something that I marveled at for a long time, that so many folks were putting their necks out there like that. Now I see them all backpedaling. That makes me nervous that they're back on our side. If they're on our side, that makes me a little bit nervous going forward. So maybe there are a couple of cuts into the future.
Seems like we're kind of coalescing around June. Maybe we just do one right in the middle of the year, outside the heat of the politics in the second half, and just be done with it. What do you think about that?
Well, of the months right now in front of us, that is the month right now that has the best opportunity to be one that would be a cut. And so that would be interesting to see, and see the reaction in the markets, right? So if the reaction isn't what we're looking for, I think then all of a sudden you got to look at the rest of the year and say, all right, we're going to backpedal off of this thing. Otherwise, if it's okay, things are flying along, we might get some more cuts late in the year, maybe one towards the latter part of the end of the year. But I don't expect to see too much, Oliver. We're still a long ways away from that 2%. And when you consider the fact that how sticky this inflation has been, and I think a lot of folks out there are finally digging into this and seeing that it's not quite to be where a lot of folks were thinking it should be by this time, March 2024. I'm not sure that folks were hoping or looking to see that we'd be right where we are right now, and it's still sticky.
It's amazing the way we've taken 6, 7 cut expectations down to like 1 or 2, yet we've had this frothing up in the last month. We're talking Bitcoin, but not just Bitcoin, the whole crypto universe. Bitcoin's dominance only up by like 1% since the ETFs. People are buying dogs with hats and PayPay coins and Joe Budden coins and stuff. You got gold making highs. What do you make of the market's tolerance for this everything style rally, Pete? I thought we left that back in the COVID stimmy days.
I thought we did too. I'm right there with you, Oliver, but it is impressive. Each and every day I look at the markets and I'm more and more impressed with the fact that, all right, so we've watched gold. Gold has been moving to the upside. Nat gas finally starting to take off a little bit from where it got all the way down to 150. Now it's getting closer, a lot closer to 2. You look across at all the different areas of the marketplace that we don't talk about probably enough. I'll tell you one thing that I'm absolutely marveling at right now is the volume in the world that I sit in, which is the options world, the derivatives world. The volumes right now, the fact that we are averaging just under 50 million contracts a day for the year, and so far in March, and it's really early, a couple days in, we're averaging 53 million contracts a day. So absolutely incredible volumes out there. People are participating, but they're moving away from stocks and moving far more into the leveraged tools of what's going on in the options world. I always just warn people, understand what you're getting into. It's a complicated world, and as long as you understand it, that's great. But definitely education is something that folks have to have if you want to be into this side of the pool, because it does get deep quick.
Amen. All right, great stuff. Thanks for the thoughts, Pete. Good convo. Appreciate it.